You meet someone at a party. They laugh at your jokes. They remember your name. They look at you like you're the only person in the room. You like them instantly. You have no idea you just failed a test you didn't know you were taking. Psychologists have a name for what you just experienced. It's called thin slicing, and your brain did it in under a second. It scanned a stranger's face, voice, and posture and decided, safe, likable, trustworthy. Most of the time, that shortcut serves you well. But there's a small percentage of people who have learned, consciously or not, exactly how to exploit it. Researchers call them the Dark Triad. Not one personality type. 3. Narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Different roots, different mechanisms, but the same fruit. Manipulation, charm without warmth, and a total absence of guilt when someone else gets hurt. You've met all three. You just called them something else. The coworker who takes credit for your work and somehow makes you thank them for it. The partner who makes you apologize for being upset that they lied. The friend who vanishes the moment you need something and reappears the moment they do. Here's the strange part. Science didn't fully map this until 2002. Psychologists Delroy Paulhus and Kevin Williams noticed something in their research. These three traits, studied separately for decades, kept showing up in the same people. So they gave the cluster a name, and modern psychology has been studying it as a unit ever since. Start with narcissism. Not the version people throw around casually, the friend who posts a lot of selfies. Clinical narcissism runs deeper. It's built on a self-image so fragile it requires constant external proof. Compliments aren't enjoyed. They're consumed, like food a starving person can never get enough of. Take the compliments away, even briefly, and what's underneath isn't confidence, it's panic. That's why narcissists react to criticism the way most people react to physical threats. A researcher named Brad Bushman ran a study on this in the 1990s. He gave people feedback on an essay they'd written. Some got praise. Some got criticism. The ones high in narcissism who received criticism didn't just feel bad. They became aggressive toward the person who criticized them, even when that person had nothing to do with the essay. The insult wasn't really about the essay. It was about the crack it put in the mask. Now add Machiavellianism. Named after Niccolò Machiavelli, the 16th century political strategist who argued that a ruler should use whatever means necessary to maintain power, morality included, if morality happened to be useful. People high in this trait treat every relationship like a game with a scoreboard. Cynical, strategic, willing to lie if the lie is efficient. Unlike narcissists, they don't need admiration. They need advantage. They can sit quietly in a meeting for 20 minutes, watching, calculating who holds power and who doesn't, before saying a single word. You've felt the temperature drop around someone like this without knowing why. Your gut noticed something your conscious mind hadn't caught yet. That your ancestors relied on that same instinct to survive tribal politics 10,000 years ago. The instinct is old. The threat just changed outfits. Then there's psychopathy, the trait most people fear the most and understand the least. Forget the movie villain. Real psychopathy, the kind researchers study, isn't about violence. It's about absence. A missing emotional signal that in most people functions like a brake pedal. Neuroscientist James Fallon spent decades studying the brains of psychopaths, scanning for patterns in the amygdala, the brain's threat and emotion center. He found reduced activity there in individuals scoring high on psychopathy assessments. Then, almost by accident, while scanning brains for an unrelated study, he found the exact same pattern in one more scan. His own. Fallon wasn't a criminal. He built a full career, a family, a life most people would call ordinary. But the discovery forced psychology to reconsider something important. The trait exists on a spectrum. Most people carrying psychopathic tendencies never become criminals. Many become surgeons, lawyers, CEOs, careers that reward the ability to stay calm while everyone else in the room is panicking. Here's the part that should unsettle you more than any of the individual traits. Charm. All three traits share it, and it isn't an accident. It's the delivery mechanism. A 2009 study led by researcher Delroy Paulhus asked strangers to rate people they'd just met for a few minutes. The individuals who scored highest on Dark Triad traits were consistently rated more attractive, more confident, more likable in that very first impression. Your instincts, the ones evolution spent millions of years refining to protect you, are aimed directly at the wrong target. You are hardwired to trust confidence. You read it as competence, as safety, as leadership. Every Dark Triad trait borrows against that instinct like a loan they never intend to repay. So why does this exist at all? Why would evolution allow a genetic pattern this corrosive to survive generation after generation? Because it works. Not for everyone around it. For the person carrying it. Evolutionary psychologists describe this as a cheater strategy. Picture a small tribe, 10,000 years ago, where most members cooperate, share resources, and follow the group's unspoken rules. Cooperation keeps the tribe alive. But cooperation only functions if most people play by it. A small number of individuals who fake cooperation, who take resources without reciprocating, who charm their way into trust and then exploit it, can thrive as long as they stay a minority. Too many cheaters and the whole system collapses. Too few, and the strategy dies out. So it persists, generation after generation, at a low, stable percentage. Enough to survive. Never enough to take over. You are living downstream of that math. Somewhere between 1 and 5% of the population scores high enough on these traits to meet a clinical threshold. That number hasn't moved much across cultures or across centuries. The strategy found its equilibrium a long time ago, and it hasn't needed to change since. Here's the twist most people never hear. You have some of this in you too. Every one of the Dark Triad traits exists on a spectrum, and small amounts show up in perfectly healthy people. A touch of narcissism helps you walk into a job interview believing you deserve the job. A touch of Machiavellian strategy helps you negotiate a raise instead of just hoping for one. A touch of psychopathic calm helps a surgeon's hand stay steady while a patient's heart is stopped on the table in front of them. The disorder isn't the trait, it's the dosage and the complete absence of anything to balance it. Empathy, guilt, the instinct to consider the other person's experience before your own. That's the real dividing line. Not whether someone is confident, strategic, or calm under pressure. Whether, underneath all three, there's still a person home who cares what happens to you. So think back to that party. The person who remembered your name, laughed at your jokes, made you feel like the only person in the room. Maybe they liked you. Most people do, most of the time. That's still true, and it will remain true after everything you just learned. But now you know the test you didn't know you were taking, and the next time your gut goes quiet around someone charming, you'll finally understand why it's whispering and what it might be trying to protect you from.